Good morning from Southern California. Check this out. So today I received my Proper Fabrics arms for the rear end of the E36, and pretty much what I'm talking about is the upper spring perch arm here, and then I also got the lower camber arms here. And so I'm going to be running through and installing this stuff on the car, and I'm also going to talk to you guys about the benefits of running their product versus the OEM stuff. Pretty much what Proper Fabrics did is they let me help them design an arm, and I designed it based off of needs that I felt were necessary for myself and for you guys out there with E36s alike. We addressed a few things. We addressed the upper arm hitting the chassis, we addressed adjustability, and we also addressed strength. I've had different companies' camber arms on my car, and I've broke them several times and had to re-weld them. I've had stock upper arms on my car, and because my car is so low, my upper arms hit my chassis, and so we customized something like that. And so these arms are what I believe to be the best out on the market. Hands down, no question about it, and I'll show you why. So let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, I got my scale, and I want to weigh the upper arm versus the stock upper arm. I do have an old lower arm. I might have to actually take that off and show you guys the weight of the aftermarket lower arm, which this is an upper. Show you the weight difference between the aftermarket lower arm and the new proper lower arm. Before we do all that, before we start weighing stuff, I need to show you why it matters. Here's why it matters. Back to the drawing board. So we have a few things. We have sprung weight, we have unsprung weight, and then we have our proper arms and stock arms where we're going to be comparing our weights. So what I need to explain to you first is sprung weight and unsprung weight. Sprung weight is going to be anything that is below the spring. So any, like all this whole rotor, the whole calipers, the trailing arm here, and the upper arms and the lower arms, and the wheel and the tire, that's all unsprung weight, meaning that it's weight that is below the spring. So that's what unsprung weight is. Unsprung weight equals weight below your springs, everything, your arms, your wheels, like I said, all that stuff. Sprung weight is going to be everything that is resting on the top of the springs. So your engine, your fenders, yourself in the car, your seats, your windows, your glass, everything that sits on top of the spring, that weighs on the top of the spring. Okay, so you got sprung weight and unsprung weight. So here's why those matter. So in theory, what I learned in school was that the way that you make a smooth riding car is by creating a heavy sprung weight and having a light unsprung weight. And so I don't know if you guys have like any trucks out there. Like I have an F-250 that was my dad's, and the F-250, anytime I hit a bump on the road, you can feel the wheels hopping everywhere. Like it feels like the whole truck is literally like skipping and doing its own thing, and then eventually it settles and grabs traction. Well, what's going on there is that what we have is a heavy sprung weight. So we have a whole chassis and everything that's really heavy, and we have a heavy unsprung weight. And so what's happening is you'll hit a bump, and all that weight and momentum will build up, compress your spring, your tire comes off the floor for a long time, and then it hits the floor. And when it hits the floor, it wants to eventually like bounce back up and do all these things because you have all this mass in your unsprung weight bouncing up and down. Your truck essentially rides smooth on a smooth surface, but as soon as you hit anything that's unsettling, all that unsprung weight wants to bounce around. The same thing with your car. And so like Cadillac is like the prime example. Cadillac made a heavy sprung weight vehicle with a very light unsprung weight. And so what happens is you hit a bump and your wheel wants to come up, but the mass is so light that the spring, because the unsprung weight is so light, it literally comes straight back down to the floor. And you're constantly keeping your wheel on the floor every disruption you hit on the street or on the surface that you're on. It's constantly going up and right back down, up and right back down. And your car is just sitting there floating while all this is taking place under it, versus having a heavy unsprung weight and having a heavy sprung weight. And you got this like constant motion of everything kind of doing this weird stuff. And so you can really feel it. And here's why it matters in your car. It matters in your car because if you have a heavy unsprung weight, you're essentially losing traction if you're drifting. Even if you're racing, it doesn't matter where you're at. You can have a street car. You're losing traction the longer your tire's off the floor. So you want a light unsprung, or you want a light unsprung weight to keep your tire on the floor, to constantly keep traction, whether it be in the front end or the rear end. It doesn't matter, because you're going to run into weird debris and different things on the track, and even on the streets, or those guys out there in the toge, you like hit rocks, whatever it is. You don't want these things to upset your car too much. It's inevitable. You're going to hit something or run something over or run into a situation where your suspension is going to compress super hard and jerky. But if you have that light unsprung weight, you'll get control over the car a lot faster, and the car will get traction a lot sooner. And so that's kind of why it matters. Now that you understand what sprung weight and unsprung weight is, I want to run you through our unsprung weight on our E36 and show you the differences between the stock arms and the new aftermarket arms. Take us over to our scale. Let's see what it says here on the weight. 0. We're going to just zero it out again for the sake of this. Now we're going to take the stock arm. This is the factory arm. We took the rubber cap out of it. We're going to gently put this on our scale and see what she reads at. 6 pounds 5 ounces. That's not a lot of weight. You're thinking that's not too much weight, and it's really not. So I'm gonna have to like help this arm out because it won't lay evenly on the scale here. But if I set it down like this, and all I'm doing is balancing it here, just balancing it, I'm not doing anything else. We're jumping between 3.7 and 3.8, so we'll just go with the higher. It was jumping between 3 pounds 7 ounces and 3 pounds 8 ounces. So let's just go, for the sake of the argument, we'll go 3 pounds 8 ounces. 3 pounds 8 ounces, pretty much a 3 pound difference already in just the upper arms that are stock versus the proper arms. And so there's already a big difference in just that. Now you're saying, oh, that's only 3 pounds. Well, let me bring out my old aftermarket camber arm versus the new proper camber arm and show you that. I finally got the old, I wouldn't even call them competition. I got the old other camber arm out of my car. I mean, there's just so many things to note. For one, like, this is their factory nut, has a fat crack in the nut. They're just poor quality. We've rewelded them. We rewelded them once because we broke the box off the end. And so when we fixed it, we welded on the bottom and on the top sides there, you can see. Well, with the proper Fabworks arms, they already addressed that. They welded it there on the bottom and they welded it on the top. They have nice chromoly hardware. Everything's chromoly on these things. But more importantly, like we were talking about the sprung and unsprung weight, I want to take you guys back over to our high-tech weight scale. Again, we'll turn our scale on. We'll zero it out. Everything's at 0. Put the other arm on the scale. Make sure it's not touching anything. And we have 5.14. 5 pounds 14 ounces. So let's go up here. I'll just call them under the stock arms. The stock arms are probably lighter than the proper arms, but the problem is they're super weak. So anytime you tire drop, they like to bend. If you go look at a photo of them, they're like folded sheet metal. It's ridiculous. So back to this, the arm is at 5.14, so 5 pounds 14 ounces. 5 pounds 14 ounces. And then we're going to throw on the new proper Fabworks chromoly arm. Let me put I'll even throw all the stainless. These are stainless here. The misalignment spacers are stainless steel, which, as you know, are heavier than any kind of other steel, or well, they're heavier than chromoly. So let's throw them on here with the misalignment spacers on them, and we're looking at 3 pounds 13 ounces, so practically a whole 2 pounds less. Pretty much you're looking at a whole almost 6 pounds difference between the new proper arms and your old factory arms versus your old whatever arms. I'm not even going to say the name just because it's going to look poor on them. But you're looking at about 6 pounds off, which is essentially 12 pounds off the rear end of the car, and it's 12 pounds off of unsprung weight in the rear end of your car, which is huge. If you took a 12-pound weight in your hand and you went to swing it, you'd feel the hard resistance of it all. And if you went and took 6-pound weight such as what we're going to have in our unsprung weight for our arms. If you took the 6 pound and swung it versus the 12 pound, you'd feel a major difference. And that's essentially what we're going for. We're going for strength and weight and all this like saved stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these arms on the driver's side of the car, and we'll go forward from there. I'm going to be doing all the testing and stuff of the new arms and showing you a demonstration on the old arms on this side of the car, which is the passenger side of the car. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I already installed everything on the driver's side of the car. And so what I went ahead and did for you guys is I put in the stock upper arm. Now, for the sake of just demonstrating, I just threw the bolts in the heims here, or into the ball joints rather. And so you can see exactly what the arm does when you slam your car. I think somewhere around here is like at a stock height. And so as soon as you start slamming your car, which everyone knows the E36 chassis sits super freaking high, and you always want to slam it. But you can see, like, my car sat somewhere around here for a while, and what was going on is that the upper arm would then pinch against the chassis like such. And so I spent my whole 2015 season with my arms riding on my chassis, and what it did was it obstructed the car from squatting, which obstructed the car from getting traction. When I went into development with Proper Fabworks, I decided, you know what, dude, like, let's do an upper arm. I'm on a true coilover setup, so we no longer need this spring perch setup. Now we need an upper arm that compensates for the car being at a very low height, and with the suspension being able to compress without running into any binding issues. So we developed a new arm, which I'm going to be putting on to this side of the car. I also have my old camber arm under here. So I'm going to take my old camber arm out, and I'm going to take this arm out, and I'm going to put together all the new stuff. So now you guys can see the compression difference between this arm and the stock arm. So around here is where the stock arm hit, and now you can see we're able to go way freaking higher. Another benefit of this kit is that our camber arm that we've developed compresses way more than every other camber arm on the market. I think everyone's stock set is like 21 inches. Don't quote me, I could be wrong, but I think it's around 21 inches. Ours is like 20 something, 20 and some change or whatever. And so you can correct more camber at a lower height. You could still adjust to the same width as all the other guys out there. That's kind of the compression test. I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Again, I got to help develop these arms and design them and stuff. And so this is what we felt would be best for us. So it's essentially from a driver for the drivers. These arms are ready to go. You can catch these dudes at Proper Fabworks on Instagram. DM them, tell them I sent you, and see what they got. I know that they only have a few sets in stock ready to go. So the sooner you get a hold of them, the better. If you have an E36, you need to go get these. I'm just going to put it together because Daryl and I have to get out of here. That's right, I'm put you in this. Daryl and I have to get out of here. We got to head over to Motorsports Hardware. We got to go meet up with Cecil and Mark and Ryan out there. So we're going to go out there, hang out with them. Maybe we'll go shoot something fun over there. They got a nice little parking lot that we might be able to screw around in. But yeah, Proper Fabworks arms, man. You guys need to go hit them up. Like, hit them up, tell them I sent you. If you got a true coilover setup in the rear end of your E36, even if you just want their camber arms, for the sake of that right there, for the sake of that 3 pound difference right there, like, and the adjustability, go hit them up. Also, our uppers are adjustable as well. I don't know, it's super dope. You need to go hit up Proper Fabworks, get some arms on your car. I got them done on my car. You should think about it for yours. They're not too bad. I think the price range is around 200 and something, which is very competitive with what's out on the market. But their arms are better than everybody else on the market. I don't care, you can quote me on that. Hands down, way better than everybody else's and stronger. So go get Proper Fabworks arms, put them on your car. All right, guys, that's it for today. As always, thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Hit that subscribe button. Later, dudes.